It is fiction, but it's based on nonfiction. Like this shit happens. There are intelligence agents. There are people being tortured. There are chemical weapons attacks. And there are people who are trying to not let that happen or to hold people accountable. So it's like we are talking about fiction, but fiction is a mirror of the world.
Where are the quiet gays? Where are the quiet gays supposed to go?
What is that face? Oh, she's got to get her hair all perfect. She can't hear me because she doesn't have her headphones on because she's trying to get her hair all perfect. Oh, she almost got it. She's so close.
I'm in business, baby.
You couldn't hear what I was saying that whole time.
No.
And then you popped on with we're in business, baby. Oh my gosh. How do you have such perfect hair?
I straightened it because I have an audition today.
Oh, yay. How did your last audition go? Have you heard anything?
I thought it went really well, but I've heard nothing.
Is that normal?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry I was late. I swear to God, I consider myself to be like an intelligent person, but filling up a slip and slide, it gets me every time. I have no idea what I'm doing. They're like, connect the water hose valve to the connector valve, and this is the drain valve, and there's just too many valves. I could never be a heart surgeon.
What a leap.
That's just what I thought about. But yeah, it's super cute. And then, Kennedy is so funny. We go outside and there's like a patch of sun and she just lays down in it and she goes, I always knew I loved the sun. And I was like, are you a Leo? I couldn't tell. But anyway, how are you?
Oh, I'm hanging in there. My little noggin hurts. Here we are.
I'm so sad for you. I'm serious. Call that freaking office 5 times a day. Call them every hour. Because something's not right.
I have a little migraine disorder, and it went, hey, knock knock, remember me?
Oh God.
Yeah.
When was your last flare up? How often does this happen?
Well, I haven't had any migraines since I started on my migraine medication over a year ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Do you think they need to mess with your dosage? Do you think something else is going on?
No idea. So that's why I was hoping that my neurologist wouldn't ignore me.
These damn neurologists thinking they're so important. Oh my God. Okay. Well, then let's just chug through this. Let's get through it so you can go back to laying in darkness and then go to your audition. Welcome back everyone to Lesbian Book Club. One of us is feeling great and the other one not so much, but here we are. We read Integrity this week, which is the first book in a 3-book series, which I'm so excited. And I do have to just say, okay, I need to clarify my stance on audiobooks because Abby Craden, who also did the audiobooks for The Senator's Wife, did this series as well. And holy shit, she's so talented. The sex scenes were not cringe at all. I was like, no, actually, this is good. I could listen to these audiobook sex scenes perfectly fine. I'm thinking Q, it was just the audiobook reader I wasn't into because Abby Craden is literally so talented. Definitely recommend the audiobooks for this series.
I want to hear Abby Craden's voice. I want to hear her say something because I don't listen to audiobooks, and so I keep hearing about her and I have no idea what this woman sounds like. So
okay, next time we get together, I'll play some a snippet for you from Integrity. I'll play a sex scene for you and you can see what I'm talking about.
Oh yes, my dream.
Well, by yourself. No, I'll say, here, go in the other room.
I'll be profusely sweating.
Yeah, you will be. Um, okay, what was your overall take of this book? What did you think?
I loved it. There were some parts that, okay, first of all, I am absolutely shook. Sorry for all of you that just came on my whirlwind of a thought train, whatever the hell that was there. I just gave you whiplash. But anyway, she's 42 or something.
The
Lexi.
main character? Lexi?
Yes.
Hot. That's so hot.
I was completely under the impression that she was maybe like late 20s.
See, I was thinking like my age, like early 30s. But 42? Where did it say that?
When she was getting interrogated.
Oh. Okay, wait. How old is Sophia?
Never says.
Okay,
That
I'm
I can
gonna go with
remember.
similar age then. Maybe
Probably,
a little younger.
probably, yeah.
You know what
The
though? Like,
building is for like young professionals, I think.
okay. I have to say though, this book has like everything. It has like, you know, war and thriller and capture and U-Haul lesbians because they were together for a month.
They U-hauled the hell out of that relationship.
Okay, but also it's like they're old. If they're older, I feel like it's not as bad. If you're like 22 and you're U-hauling, like get a brain first. But if you're like 42 and you like have a decent job and you're like know what you want out of relationships and then you find that person, it's like, is that bad? I don't
But
know.
that's also not the reason that U-hauled at all.
Okay, that's true. Yeah, but their connection was there. Their connection is like fire.
Yeah, for sure they had chemistry. But for no reason of like this is definitely what we want is why they U-hauled. They U-hauled out of pure like
Necessity.
Lexi was getting chased by the government.
Okay, fair. You know what though? I do want to talk about that because, well, obviously I want to talk about it because here we are. But like, I don't know how I feel about Lexi's choice to bring Sophia along for this.
Oh, yeah, highly manipulative, smart.
Was it though? I mean, I guess it was.
I
Okay, we have
mean,
to like get into it. We can't like just jump into right there.
also, ooh, I mean, yeah, it's smart and not smart. I mean, I feel like it would have been smarter for her to pick somebody that she wasn't so emotionally invested in.
Yeah, but also if you're in like a high intensity situation, it's easier to get emotionally invested with someone because you're like literally trying to keep them safe and hide and like, you know what I mean? I'm thinking of
Yeah.
the quote in Speed for all my older people who are listening because Speed's like a 1994 Sandra Bullock thriller movie. But at the end, they've been like on this bus that's going to explode, and then they're on like a runaway subway and they're like attached to a pole and they like go through into the street and they flip over and everything. And then they're like laying there, like about to kiss, and Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, and they're like, you know, relationships that are built on, God, what do they say? Relationships built on intense situations rarely work out. And I was like, that's all I could think of this book. But I was like, but they're women. It's different.
Is it? Is it though? I don't know.
You know what? I don't know. I don't know anything anymore, to be honest with you. I don't know anything anymore. I think the more you learn and know, the more you just don't know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that such is life.
Wise, wise woman once said.
A wise woman once
I know
said.
nothing and such is life.
Man, life is a trip, let me tell you.
You know who you just sounded like when you said man?
Man, what who?
Man. You know Kendall on TikTok who does all the skits?
No.
They're like this lesbian comedian. They're so funny. They're so funny, but they always pretend to be like their mom.
Oh, the German mom?
No, different one.
Dang it.
This like pretends to be her. I don't know what pronouns they use, but pretends to be their like Midwestern mom. And so I was like, Kendall. I feel like people will know what I'm talking about.
They probably will.
Kendall is so funny, but when you said man, that's what you sounded like.
Man. Okay, well, I will take that as a compliment. Thank you.
Yeah. I hope Kendall listens to us one day because I love Kendall.
We'll send her this little clip. We'll post it. We'll tag her.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so let's just jump in. So Lexi is a intelligence analyst. She's quote unquote not a spy, except
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure she like is. I know it says she's not, but she gets herself in all of these like spy-y situations. And she receives this at the beginning of the book. She receives this intelligence from one of her contacts. I'm assuming in like the Middle East.
Yeah, his name's Hadim.
Exactly.
I can't remember I can't remember if it ever said.
I know, but with the name, I'm assuming it's and
Yeah.
with the situation that ends up happening. So he ends up giving her this like highly classified information. It's like an audio and a video of a chemical weapons attack on civilians. And it
Yeah.
seems like it says it's like kind of like Agent Orange mixed with another type of chemical weapon, which if you know anything about chemical weapons or you've been following the news for, the last decade or literally the last 2 centuries, chemical weapons, first of all, they're banned by the Geneva Convention, they're banned by the UN. You cannot use them. It's a war crime. That doesn't stop anyone from using them, our government included. But Syria, they had a recent, in the past, like I'd say 5 to 7 years, huge chemical weapons attack. We are seeing Israel use them, and they're just heinous because they're airborne. So anyone that breathes them in, like it's like a not immediate death, it's a painful, painful, painful death. Lexi receives this information from one of her contacts that there has been a chemical weapons attack, and it seems like it's being orchestrated by someone in the US government because there's an American man who's in an American military uniform that is like later verified to be accurate. And she now is in possession of this and has to figure out what to do with it because she works for a very highly classified unit called the Halcyon Division, which I didn't look up that word. Now I want to know what it means. And she is in charge of figuring out who did this and who's responsible. That's kind of the basis of the book.
Yeah, and things get real crazy because okay, so Lexi definitely not a spy but real spy vibes. Huge spy vibes.
Yeah.
And I was really really stoked about this because when do you ever see good lesbian spy shit? Like
I
it's
know.
always okay, I love seeing a really good, great, like hot woman spy. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
My like dream role is to be a really like hot, great woman spy or to be April in Parks and Rec. Okay. Anyway.
Okay.
But like they're never lesbians. They're always going around flirting with men.
I
being
know.
like, oh, hi. Cute
Like
little
using their
boy.
like womanly wiles on men, never on women.
Yeah, and Lexi doesn't do that one single time in
No.
this. I mean, she kind of talks about like having sex with Sophia in front of a man to like try and weaken one of these dudes. But like I loved it. I loved that she was not being the classic there for the male gaze sort of woman spot, you know?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. This book didn't have like that male gaze energy when it came, like most of the book, they're holed up together. It's just the two of them. And yeah, it didn't have that type of effect, in my opinion, either. But also, I do think if the opportunity presented itself and she had to like flirt her way out of something, she probably would.
Oh yeah, I think she would too.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, actually, I have a question.
Yeah.
Who did you identify with more, Lexi or Sophia? Or none? Or both?
Sophia, I think.
Okay, same.
Mhm.
I was like, but you know what? The puzzle thing got me. And I was like, you know what? That would be me. But I think I identify with both of them. But I also think that I identify with Sophia more because I was just like, she doesn't know what's going on half the time. And then she's like also like really trusting of Lexi once some of the stuff kind of comes out. But I feel like Sophia had such a good like response to everything too.
Mm.
Is
Yeah,
that kind of how you felt?
she did. I think that, first of all, it was absolutely insane of her to go on this trip in the first place. Like,
Okay.
even though I knew because I was the reader from Lexi's perspective that Lexi was a good person, I was like, Sophia, you idiot, don't trust this stranger. Go on this. Like I was with my sister who was texting her and I'm watching your face right now and I feel like you're about to say, I totally would have gone on this road
I
trip.
would have gone. I
I
absolutely
knew
would have
it.
gone. Yeah, I love trips. I'll go. I'll go. I would have gone immediately. Absolutely. That is just my nature.
That's just my nature is insane. So here's the thing. I've been offered to go on trips by like people that I don't really know that have just like slid into my DMs on the internet like multiple times.
Okay, you got to meet the person a
And
couple times before you go on a trip, and then you could go. It's fine.
or like there's been at least one instance in LA where I've like met somebody. It wasn't a date. It was just like I've just met somebody by pure circumstantial whatever.
Yeah.
And they've been like, "Oh, we'll come do this like fun crazy thing with me and we can have this little, like road trip to go do it, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm good. I would like to preserve my life.
Yeah.
I
See, I went. I've gone on these before, and they all are super fun. They work out. It's a great time
I just feel like I'd be dead by now if I said yes to these things.
with a man or a woman.
Both.
Okay, well, I wouldn't go with a man, but what's a woman gonna do? I would too. I'd kick your butt.
Women can be equally as insane and dangerous.
Yes. No, they can. Well, hold on. I think they can be equally as insane. I don't think they're equally as dangerous because at least I'll have a fighting chance strength wise. Put them up. I got it. No, I mean, I would die. Honestly, I
I'm
would
so
die.
worried for you right now. So, yeah, really questionable choice by Sophia there, in my opinion.
Wait, we haven't even got to Sophia yet. There's stuff that happens before Sophia
Okay.
because
okay,
she
back.
gets, yeah, let's back up. So Lexi gets this information. She goes to her superior at the intelligence agency and shares it with him. What's his name?
Derek.
Derek, thank you. And shares it with Derek. And Derek's like, okay, like we have a situation on our hands. She goes home in the middle of the night. She's woken up by a man in her apartment who's like threatening her to give him the information, forget it ever happened, blah, blah, blah. Tell us what Lexi does. Because I was like, badass. I was like, this is
Oh, yeah, she like beats the shit out of this dude. First of all, she's butt ass naked.
good.
She is.
Which don't sleep naked. That's gross, guys. Don't sleep naked.
What
Oh,
do
you sleep
mean?
naked.
It
Do you know?
lets-
Okay. No.
lets
Yeah,
the
it lets it
air
breathe.
out in
I know, but
there.
also, okay, this is a side tangent. It's crazy. People are gonna think I'm crazy. Farts. You know why you smell farts, right? It's poop particles.
Yeah.
So if you're sleeping naked, you're gonna fart and you're just getting poop particles everywhere. That's gross.
As opposed to if you're sleeping in your clothes.
Then at least it's in your underwear and then you change your underwear and you wash off. It's not all over your sheets.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't like sleeping naked. Also, like, I don't know. I have a really big aversion to sleeping naked for more than one reason, more than just the poop reason.
Thank you for sharing.
Welcome, everyone. Don't sleep naked. But Alexi's sleeping naked. Let's segue back.
She is sleeping naked. And she feels somebody staring much in the same way that my mother used to feel her children staring at her in the middle of the night. And
Oh my God. This like it's so scary. I woken up with children just staring at me and I'm like, just get in bed. What are you doing?
yeah, you know how I have like abnormally large eyes?
Yes.
Imagine those on a child's head.
Oh my God, no, terrifying. And you're like tall and lanky. Yes. So Lexi can just feel someone looking at her. And lo and behold, this like big ass guy is standing there, like threatening her.
And she gets up and she convinces him to turn around to give her some privacy. And the second that he turns around, she just like beats the crap out of him. And then she
takes his gun too. She breaks his nose and takes his gun.
Yeah.
And is like, peace, I'm gonna tie you up. And she also gets out of him that where his partner is so that she can go out the opposite way. So she gets away. Okay, so she like packs a couple things, bolts out of the apartment, and then now has to like find a place to stay. So she finds a place to stay, but then the next morning, she's also like covering her tracks. She's doing all this like cool intelligence-y spy things to cover up to make sure no one's following her, et cetera, et cetera. But then the next morning she gets a phone call and she's like, oh shit, like it's this woman that I've been dating. Like I met like how many times? Once?
3 times?
Yeah, I was gonna say 2, 3. Okay, I said once, but I knew I was wrong. But yeah, got on like 3 dates with, and the girl calls and is like, hey, like, I'm at the coffee shop. And I feel like when you're like just newly dating someone, like you can have conversations, but you never really know, like, do you actually like me? Do you actually want to see me again? Like, just be honest with me and let me know. So like, I know what to do. Right. And Lexi's like, oh shit, like I'm literally 20 minutes late to this date that I completely have forgotten about. And she's like, decides she's going to go. And I was like, that's crazy.
So crazy, but then also kind of smart because where is the last place that they would think that a terrified, scared person would be hiding from it? Like you would think that they'd be holed up somewhere, not just like out in the open having breakfast with somebody.
I know, which is smart. And she's like making sure that she's in like a crowded place and everything, but still. And then the way she has to get there was like impersonating like the Southern woman and like helping this lady with her kids. It was so funny to me. Like I could see this as a movie and this being like a comedic part. And she like threatens the 3-year-old that she has to like take care of in order to get there.
Yep.
So it's very funny. So anyway, she meets up with Sophia, and this is where we meet Sophia.
Yeah. And Sophia could have just been like, screw you. And this is kind of where we get a little bit of insight into Sophia's mind, because Sophia not only waits 20 minutes before calling Lexi and being like, hey, are you coming? But then instead of being mad at her, she's like, okay, I'll wait another 15, 20 minutes for you to get here. So when all is said and done, Lexi's like pretty late, and Sophia's just been sitting there by herself waiting for her.
See, this is where I identify with Sophia because I'd have done the same thing. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll wait. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If you give me a good excuse, okay, fair. Life is life, right? Life is life. It's going to happen to you.
And she's just like, I don't know. I mean, she kind of, in this instance, it feels like she lets Lexi just kind of walk over her a little bit. And she does it over and over again throughout the book.
She's very understanding.
Yes. And it's never really Lexi's fault because she's forced into, like, we know that Lexi is actually forced into these situations by the federal government.
Right.
And she's like literally fighting for her life and her freedom and for national security and the lives of like thousands of people.
Right.
And unfortunately, Sophia's relationship is just sort of a sacrifice that she has to make a little bit, but Sophia doesn't know that for most of this book.
Right.
And she, like you said, is just really understanding, and what information she has, she's letting Lexi walk all over her and she's just laying down like a doormat. And I'm like, girl. Wow. And every once in a while she kind of stands up and lays the law down a little bit and she's like, turn that work computer off, like come here, have dinner with me.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. But also the way that it's written, you get a little mad at Sophia in those moments because it's that I'm about to sneeze.
Bless you.
Thank you. You get a little mad at Sophia in those moments, the way it's written, because they're at like really imperative moments for Lexi where it's like she's about to discover something.
Yeah, but Sophia doesn't know.
Yeah.
So while they're at breakfast, lo and behold, who comes up but the guy who was in Lexi's apartment with his broken nose. And you know what? I like Sophia in this moment because he comes up and he's like, come with me or whatever he does. He's like trying to intimidate Lexi, trying to get her like fucking, go. And she's like, oh, you have me mistaken with someone else, blah, blah, blah. And he keeps at it. And Sophia, like, I think this is why Lexi likes Sophia, because Sophia is like, dude, she said she doesn't know you. Go away. Right. And I think that like for Lexi, having somebody else like kind of step into that like masculine energy of like protection and like get out of here is like hot, because she doesn't have to do it. So.
Yeah, I liked that too. I was like, yeah. Yeah.
Go, Sophia.
Lexi's like, okay, this is kind of crazy, girl, but I have this little work trip and I know you said you've been wanting to travel and your business has kind of stopped you from doing that. And like, I don't know, like, would you want to go on this road trip with me? And already she's in so many lies because she said that her car was in the shop and blah, blah, blah. And she gets caught in that one by Sophia. She's like, road trip, I thought your car was in the shop. She's like, oh yeah, well, work is covering a rental car.
She has all the excuses.
Yeah, there's just so many lies going on. But anyway, Sophia very quickly agrees to go on this road trip with her. And she's like, and then we'll go to the Bahamas after. And it'll be just a little bit of work and then let it play. And spoiler, they do not go to the Bahamas, and it is not just a little bit of work and a lot of play. It's a lot of
not.
work and
some play.
No play.
There's a little play, though. They play. The spicy play was there.
But mostly they sit inside, and Lexi sits on her computer, and Sophia goes stir crazy.
Yeah.
So, which honestly, if I were Sophia and I got the opportunity to sit inside of a hotel room for 2 weeks, I'd be pretty pumped.
I know. That's how I felt. I was like, that's why Sophia went. Like, she gets a little vacation. She's just a graphic designer. Sorry, graphic designers. That's not what I meant. I meant in terms of like graphic designer versus intelligence agent. It's a little more involved, but she's a graphic designer, so she can just pick up and go. And they both love travel. So that's also something they bonded over, of course. And yeah, so she works on her graphic design stuff while Lexi's trying to save the world.
Yes. And Lexi at first doesn't tell her like anything about this, but then she gets followed by this guy, and she has to kind of give some details to Sophia because she has to send Sophia back to the hotel room while they're out shopping.
Right.
And kind of stress to her how important it is that they don't get caught, and change some of her internet habits because she knows that they got tracked through Sophia's internet habits.
Exactly. And Sophia's like, again, so understanding. She's like, oh, I got it. Should I call my mom through WhatsApp or through Telegram? Like, you know what I mean? She's like, just on board.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a good quality.
The thing is, though, is that Lexi lied to her again. It was like, well, see, this is a test. This is a test by my bosses, and
Which was a brilliant, brilliant cover.
yeah. And I have to pass, and if anybody catches me, then like that's a point in the fail column. But if I like solve these puzzles, those are points in the pass column, blah blah blah. And like the longer I stay hidden, those are points in the pass column.
And poor Sophia was like, oh no, did I cause you to get a point in the fail column? And then, Lexi has to be like, no, like it's fine. But I was like, oh, poor little Sophia.
Also, why is Sophia at this point not questioning, like, why did you, like, take me along on your evaluation?
Yeah. Yeah, I took a point away from Sophia on that one too, because at that moment I'd be like, would it be better if you just did this alone? Like, call me next week.
Yeah.
But then we wouldn't have our fun story. But yeah, they do track like the actual, I don't want to say bad people because I feel like everyone's a bad person when it comes to like illegal war crimes and intelligence agencies and things like that. But for the purpose of our book, Lexi is the good guy. And, the bad guys find her through Sophia. So Sophia has to now like, well, also if I was Sophia, sorry, I got in my own way on that train of thought. If I was Sophia, I'd be like, okay, so just let's go to another hotel and just stay in there for X amount of times and then finish your puzzles and like we win. That would be my thing. Like that's why I would question like a lot of what Lexi was doing. Cause I'd be like, if this is a test and what you've told me about this test is true, why wouldn't we just hide out while why do you need to go out? Why do you need to call people? Why do you need to do these extra steps that don't seem to be like with the point evaluator system, right?
Well, but they're like they're giving her pieces of information to solve the puzzles.
Yeah, do your puzzles from the laptop. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just didn't. This is what my train of thought would have been if I was Sophia. Okay. But I'm sure Lexi would have a really good rebuttal to my suggestions.
I'm sure. She was a very good liar.
Yeah, that's so scary.
It's so scary.
Because then it's like, because you're like, yeah, but she wouldn't lie to me, but also you wouldn't know. Was there an earthquake?
No, I don't know. I'm looking up Bink because we meet Bink, who's one of those outside sources of information.
Okay. I thought you were saying you were looking at your bank app. I was like, why? But yes, okay, tell us about Bink.
I love Bink. Bink is a person that used to be an intelligence analyst at the government agency that Lexi works for, was part of Halcyon, but got an honorable discharge from the government for what we don't know. Yes. But Bink is basically like the know-all go-to for everything if you want to know anything. Like if there is any sort of information that you can't get your hands on, Bink can.
Yeah.
Think Penelope Garcia from Criminal Minds.
Okay, I was gonna say think Ocean's 8 and like Rihanna with her internet security stuff. So good. Yeah. We're on the same page.
Yeah. Bink can do it.
Okay.
So the other thing about Bink is that Bink is a little off-putting, and is an actual sociopath, but has taken a liking to Lexi and is really protective over Lexi and will basically like do anything for her. So just is such an odd character that I fell in love with. I love Bink.
Yeah, you love odd characters.
Yeah. So if there was a movie of this, I would wait the whole first part of the movie to see Bink. I'd be so excited for this. And I already can't wait to read part 2 to
I
see what comes
know.
next. Because I'd bet you anything. I'd bet you anything. That they put Bink into use when at the end of this book they broke Lexi out during transport.
Right.
I mean, everything was like top secret about where Lexi was being held and where she was being taken, and I bet they used Bink to figure out where
Oh,
she was, where she was
absolutely.
going, and
And you know that Bank was going to be looking for her and like
yeah,
fighting for her for sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm excited for the next book. I can't wait.
Mm-hmm. And really, I mean, Lexi felt like she was so alone in these books, or I mean, in this book.
Yeah.
And she really she was very isolated, except for
Yes.
Sophia. She was literally isolated.
And she couldn't trust her boss. Even she couldn't even trust Derek because he was the only one that she shared that information with. And so she's now thinking that he was part of possibly turning her over to like whoever is chasing her, right? Like kind of the
Exactly.
double agent thing. So she really couldn't trust anyone. The only one she could kind of trust is Sophia, but she's not really going to be a help in this.
Yeah. And she even had Bink run a background check on Sophia because
Oh
she
yeah.
was even a little uneasy about like, is Sophia just a really good agent from the other side, like sent to get me? And she's just really good at pretending to be normal. Like
Yeah.
she really couldn't trust anybody. She has no idea who Lennon is. Lennon is her
Yeah.
boss at Halcyon, and
Right.
she has no family. Her parents died like over a year ago in some
Yeah.
sort of crash.
Plane
And
crash or car crash? Plane crash?
plane
Plane
crash.
crash. Yeah.
Yeah. And like Alex Gray.
I know.
Yeah. And
Also like Lexi Gray.
oh, yeah.
Hmm. I'm watching Grey's Anatomy with Ava. We just started it. And we just finished season 3 where Lexi's introduced. And I was like, Ava, this is my favorite character.
You should tell Ava I worked on that.
You did?
You didn't know that?
No?
Yeah, I worked on Grey's Anatomy.
Shut up. I'm pissed. I didn't know that. Yeah, Lexi's like my favorite because so I've watched Grey's Anatomy a ton. Sorry, this is a little side thing. I love Grey's Anatomy. And I used to think that I was Christina Yang. I I'm not. And then I was like, well, no, I'm like a mix between Meredith and Christina. Also not. I After I grew up and I rewatched it, I finally figured out that I am Lexi Gray. And that doesn't bother me. It used to bother me. It used to make me really upset that I was her. But I'm like, you know what? Lexi's kind of like the best character on that show. And she's like so beloved by everyone. And I'm like, okay, fine. I guess I can be Lexi. It'll work for me. Anyway, so yes, Lexi's parents, not Lexi Gray, Lexi from our story. Her
Lexi
parents
Martin.
died. Yes.
Yeah.
Die in a plane crash. So yeah, she really is alone in the world.
She's alone. And then at the end, we find out that this whole time she actually was never alone. Everyone was working double time to help her, but they just couldn't let her know.
Yeah.
Her boss, Derek, is also part of Halcyon Division. And it's so top secret that like agents in Halcyon can never reveal that they're in Halcyon. So even if somebody else is in it, like you can't tell. Nobody you will
agents,
ever know. Yeah.
Right.
And so like there was a metaphor in there somewhere about the leaves on a tree. We'll never know about like the other leaves on a tree.
Right.
And so she feels so alone. She finds out that she never actually was alone, and Derek like really went to town busting her out, and Lennon was in on it and was like working hard to get her out. Everyone sounds so tired every time she talks to them, and it's because they've been working so hard to try and get her out. And
I know.
like,
because let's get to where she is. Where are they trying to get her out from? Like what's happening?
Yeah. So I mean, she's been on the run. She puts the puzzle together, and she finds out that American soldier that was in the video
Orchestrating the attack.
Crime,
yes.
He was talking to these Russian militia soldiers about like carrying out this war crime, right? Of the attack.
Yeah.
The chemical weapons attack. So basically, it he had that American soldier had been blackmailing these Russian militia soldiers into doing his dirty work for him, and he was identified as the illegitimate son of the Vice President of the United States.
Yes.
And the reason that they didn't want Lexi to take this any further was because they didn't want, like, the President of the United States didn't want this getting out and embarrassing him and his choice in his vice presidential candidate and all of that. So it was just.
When was this book written? Because this has some like real world parallels with
I know,
like
it really
Trump
did.
and JD Vance and everything. Because like, oh my God, what an embarrassing man to pick for a
it was
run.
definitely written post-COVID because the
Yes.
excuse they used for her being out of the office was that she had a bad bout of COVID.
Right. Oh my God, this came out May 2023.
Wow.
So like only like a little bit over a year. Are the other books published?
Yeah. 2 and 3
Oh,
are
she
out.
must have published them all at the same time then, I'm wondering.
I don't know.
Damn. Okay.
So this all gets discovered, and so yeah, he has this illegitimate son from, he got his high school girlfriend pregnant in high school and then pieced out and left her to raise him by herself, which is like tea, but wasn't relevant, right?
Right. But did he know? Not that I'm making excuses.
Oh, for sure.
Like I don't know if he even knew, but he obviously had to have eventually.
He knew, but his
dad
was the governor,
right,
of, I can't remember what state, Massachusetts or Virginia or something
like that,
and like didn't want the embarrassment of his son getting his high school girlfriend pregnant.
Right. Okay. Because yeah, obviously he knew eventually, because I don't know if it said in the book because I don't remember, but the vice president I think is going to be implicated in some way, shape, or form. Do you think they're like involved? It has to be, because it's not like this soldier is going to go rogue, or lieutenant colonel, I think is what it, or lieutenant sergeant or something is what the rank is of the illegitimate son. But it's not like that, like when you're that high up in the military, and I know nothing about the military, but when you're that high up, like you still have to get orders from someone, especially to like carry out a chemical weapons test on civilians.
Right. I don't know.
And that's going to come from the highest parts of government.
Right. I don't know if the vice president would be the one, and I don't know if he would be implicated, but for sure it would be super embarrassing and be a huge scandal.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And just the way that like news cycles run, he would be scorched.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So yeah, so that is I lost my train of thought.
So that's what she discovers.
Thank you. Yes.
She turns that in, writes a report, turns it into Derek. And then Sophia's dad gets arrested by the government and is basically used as like bait to get her to turn herself in, because she knows that they've taken him for no reason. They are threatening his like citizen status,
which is crazy. So he's a Mexican American, like he is a naturalized citizen. He should have all the rights that being a citizen grants you. And this whole time, like Lexi has been telling Sophia, you can't be involved. Like, I won't let anything happen to you. I won't let anything happen to your family, because she knew that was going to be a threat. And she even tells like people she's working with, like, Sophia is off limits. She can't be implicated. But like, Lexi doesn't have the power to make that call. People are going to use whatever leverage they have to get what they want, especially when it comes to like classified information. Right. Yeah. So yeah, her dad gets taken and he has a heart condition and they don't let him take his pills. It's just like, it's a nightmare. It's a true nightmare, especially for Lexi, or especially for Sophia. And this whole time, like Lexi and Sophia, their connection is like very strong. They feel like they've known each other forever. Their chemistry is like off the charts. There's just like a supernatural trust that's there, which I feel like it was believable in the book. Like you weren't just like, oh, this is for the book's sake. Like it felt believable to me.
I think it was believable because there was doubt there because of those emails that Sophia was getting emails from some like unknown person basically saying like,
but saying it was from Lexi's email.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Saying that like Lexi's dangerous, she's a criminal. If you are feeling threatened, like please reach out, tell us where you are, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
And
because they're going to frame her as a whistleblower. If any of this like information gets out, they're going to say that she stole. And when I say they, I mean like the bad guys or even intelligence agencies who are going to want to cover this up and place the blame on someone. And they're going to basically crucify Lexi in the press and try and make it, send her to jail, say she was the one doing illegal things. And that's what this email is explaining to Sophia almost. And so it does put Sophia on guard, but the way that Lexi explains it to her, like she fully trusts Lexi.
It takes time though, because at first she's very distrustful. She's like, so you've been lying to me. Like what all is a lie? How can I trust you?
Yeah.
But she says something that I thought was very poignant in that she tells Lexi, I think that you use your head and I use my gut. And this is really confusing for me because half of my gut is telling me that what you're doing and that you lying to me is really wrong.
Right.
And the other half of my gut is telling me that everything that we've had so far has been real and that you are a good person and that I really like you. And I don't know which way to follow. So
Right.
how am I supposed to know what to do? And that's so real.
I know it's such a familiar situation. I feel like for literally anyone. What would you go with? Would you go with your head or your gut? Not in this situation, just in general, like in life, when you're presented with, because I know what I go with.
I don't know. I think it depends on the situation.
Yeah. I tend to go with my gut. As like, again, someone who feels like they're pretty good at problem solving and like looking at facts and things, when my gut is telling me something against what my head is, I feel like I've learned to go with my gut and it normally doesn't go wrong. It's when I go with my head that things get messy. Which I think Sophia goes with her gut eventually and decides, you know what, I'm just going to trust Lexi. Which is kind of scary.
Yeah. It is scary to just fully put your trust in someone and release control when you just don't know what's going on.
And they've known each other for a month.
Yeah.
For a month. Ooh, that's so scary. I can't. It's so hard.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Sophia is really her dad is gone. She's trusting Lexi to get him back.
I know. Like, well, also she has no other option. She has to trust Lexi now. And Lexi does go to bat. Like Lexi is like, no, you have to fix this. This is my number one thing. I'll turn myself in. I'll go to jail. Just release Sophia's dad from custody. He needs his pain medication. That's also rule number one. Like get him his meds, and she's like willing to go to jail. She's willing to turn herself in. She's like about to do it anyway. And then she gets like kidnapped.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So that's how we end up with okay, so Sophia's dad gets released. She turns herself in.
Yes.
And she gets taken to a facility. They keep telling her like, well, you're not arrested.
Yeah, because she's not arrested. Like she turns herself in, but she's not arrested. She's like taken. That's why I say kidnapped, because she's like taken to like a secure facility where she's going to be like interrogated and tortured.
which she's literally in jail. Like, she's in a cell, she's handcuffed, she's not allowed to leave.
Right.
She's getting interrogated, but they didn't read her Miranda rights. They won't give her a lawyer because she's not arrested. But, like, what the hell is she then?
Well, I mean, come on. We see this all the time. Our government does this all the time. You got Guantanamo Bay. You have all these places where if it's an intelligence or a national security threat, then there are laws that say that they don't have to follow the laws. They can detain you indefinitely. They can torture you using humane methods, whatever the fuck that means. I mean, we've seen all these things happen. This is real life situations that our government puts people into, So, yeah, technically she's not arrested because it's not going to be on the books because they don't want it on the books. So she doesn't get her Miranda rights. She's not entitled to a lawyer, none of that. Technically all quote unquote legal. And there's a quote that I always think of that says legality is not like the definition for morality. Like you can't legislate morality. And like slavery used to be legal. That doesn't make it morally correct, right? So even though this is legal what they're doing, it's so against like human rights, like all of humanity. Ugh, it's horrible.
Feels illegal.
It should be illegal. It should be illegal because what we want our legal system to reflect morality, humanity, human rights. We want that to be what our legal system is, but our legal system isn't set up to protect people. It's set up to protect property and the rich, right? So who does this benefit? The legal system benefits the wealthy. And when the wealthy or the people in government are committing war crimes, well, we're going to now have to legislate things to protect that. And what falls to the wayside when we're doing that? Human rights.
Icky.
Yep. So anyway, yes, she's now in this facility. She is being interrogated. She's being, for lack of a better word, tortured. She's being hit. She's being like, we got to talk about a little bit of her backstory. We forgot completely about it.
They use her trauma against
Haley was yelling and she had to calm down. So let's talk about how we find out about Lexi's backstory. Sophia and Lexi this book was spicy. I loved the spiciness. It was so funny. So I went to my sister's birthday dinner on Thursday, and then my girls went and spent the night. And so I got into my car alone, put my headphones in, start listening to my audiobook. Lo and behold, I forgot that I had paused in the middle of a sex scene. And my earpods go in, and then I just hear, and then she whispered to her, "Open your legs." And I was like, oh my God. I was like immediately turned on. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm in my car and I didn't even expect this to happen. And So during one of the times that they have sex, Sophia sees all these like scars on Lexi's abdomen. And we find out that previously Lexi had been taken and interrogated and stabbed, actually. I think they were going to stab her 23 times, but they only got to like 6, I think, something like that. Because of another like investigation that went wrong. And for somebody who says they're not a spy, they sure are treated like a spy.
Mm-hmm. So. I feel like it seems like she went a little rogue in that situation too, though. Because she was dating
like a
this
spy,
girl, like Ella Hay.
Yeah.
And just kind of naturally found out that her brother was involved in this group that was doing bad stuff. And so she had to use that information to go get him.
Yep.
And I don't really feel like that was originally her mission. She just got the info and was like, well, this is now my duty to do this.
Right. Yeah.
Also, when you said previously, That entire time you were talking my intrusive thought, I just went previously on Survivor. That was my only thought. That was my only thought.
And when you just said previously, it made me think of like I just started rewatching Law and Order SVU for no particular reason. And I was like, previously on Law and Order SVU or previously on. I just like I think that's why I use the word previously.
But Sophia thinks that these scars are so hot and she keeps like tracing them, and then after she hears the story, she's like purposely not touching them.
She's like, actually, never mind. They're not hot anymore. Which I was like, that same Sophia. I would have thought that was super hot too. And then I would find out about it and then it would just make me sad. Be like, I'm going to pretend those aren't there. And it was so crazy. The thing that I picked up on in the book that made it, God, like torture is so crazy because the guy that stabbed Lexi purposely was stabbing her far enough apart so that she couldn't hold the wounds, like couldn't hold more than one wound with a hand, right? Like, how fucking maniacal is that?
Yeah. Some people's brains are built different because I wouldn't think about that. I wouldn't stab somebody in the first place.
Okay, that's good, Haley. I think you have to be trained to think like that. I don't know if that's like, and because I don't think we're wired to treat other people that way.
I hope not.
Just you and me, Haley, over here trying to make the world kind. Being like, don't stab people. Yeah, I think you have to be trained to like think through things like that. So anyway, that's a little bit of Lexi's backstory. And so then when she's in this detention facility again, like it's obviously going to be really hard to break her. And she was able to hold out in that previous instance, and she had to be broken out of that as well. You know what? Lexi's really sounding like not a good agent. She keeps getting caught and tortured and having to be rescued. But I mean, I guess that goes with having to save the world multiple times in your lifetime.
Yeah, I feel like normally you only have to do that once,
maybe.
None at all, probably.
Yeah, you
if
would
you're
think
normal.
If you're a normal person, which I guess they're not. But that's why this is a book. But also, I feel like it's like real.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes we talk about these books so seriously, like they're super real.
I know we do.
And we forget this is fiction.
It is fiction, but it's based on nonfiction. Like this shit happens. There are intelligence agents. There are people being tortured. There are chemical weapons attacks. And there are people who are trying to not let that happen or to hold people accountable. So it's like we are talking about fiction, but fiction is a mirror of the world, right? Like there's nothing like, Handmaid's Tale, all those things have happened in the world to women. Like, yeah, it's a fictional depiction of a dystopian world, but it's true. These things have happened. And that's why it makes it so scary and why it feels so real. That's why this book feels real.
Yeah.
So how do we bust her out? How did we bust Lexi out?
Well, great question.
Thank you.
So they put her into a van, the regular people, like the bad guys.
Yeah.
They put her into this van and they chained her all up to this bench. And then they were being real assholes and driving super crazy. And then next thing she knows, she's in this horrible car crash and is just getting tossed and rolling and rolling and rolling, and everything's broken. Her ankle's broken, her fingers are broken, her ribs are broken, her head is bleeding, like she's like
yeah,
against
because think about being like restrained and being in a rolled over car accident. You can't even brace yourself with your hands to like stop impact.
So it stops rolling. And then these guys with like face coverings and rifles and stuff come and they bust open the door. And what do you know? It's Derek. And they get her loose and they're like, there's a car over there. You need to get to it. Can you drive? And she has to hobble across the street.
With her broken ass ankles.
Yeah, and then drive the car even though she's like bleeding from the head. And they give her like an envelope full of stuff and it's already programmed in with a GPS and it takes her to the safe house in the middle of the neighborhood and it has the envelope has like all the stuff she needs and then she stays there and then a couple days later she talks to Derek on the phone and he's like, I think you should go see Sophia. And she's like, what? And then he's like, see you at the office next week.
I know. It's so cute. Yeah. Well, because Sophia this whole time has no idea what's going on.
And it's been 10 days, she finds out.
Oh my God, I would have gone insane. I would have gone absolutely insane.
Yeah. This is, okay, I was watching NCIS the other day. Or, sorry, not NCIS. You were
Criminal
watching
Minds?
NCIS.
I wasn't watching NCIS.
What the heck was I watching? SWAT. I was watching SWAT.
One of those 4-letter acronym shows.
Yeah. I was watching SWAT. And I the whole time was just so anxious. Like I couldn't help thinking about, oh my God, what if my girlfriend was an agent? Thank God she only works in sports. I was just so anxious, and if I were Sophia, I would hate it. I would hate it so much.
Yeah, I think trying to date somebody who works in a scary or dangerous field would come with a lot of potential anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Stop doing that to your brain, Haley. Maybe that's what drove you to a migraine. No, she'll be safe. Your girlfriend will be very safe. She edits and shoots awesome footage, and you know what? Her biggest job issue would be possibly getting hit by a football player. But I think she could take it. I think she'd be okay. She's strong. Yeah, exactly.
So she doesn't know. Lexi does not know if Sophia still wants to see her, which, girl, are you nuts? Of course she wants to see you.
Okay, yes. But also, it's like, you got my dad kidnapped and then you ghosted me for 10 days. Because Sophia doesn't know anything, right? Now.
Well, she knows that she had to turn herself in and was like gonna probably go to jail.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, again, like if you or I were Sophia, we would definitely want to see them. Mm-hmm. So she leaves like this, like, doesn't she leave like a little note on her car?
Yeah, so she goes to Sophia's apartment, sees that she's inside, waits outside, follows her to pickleball.
Yeah.
Watches her play pickleball for a couple hours, but doesn't let her see her. And then
fucking
goes
creepy.
Out to her car. I know. Goes out to her car, lets herself in because she took a spare key from her junk drawer earlier.
I would find all of this incredibly hot. I really would. And I don't know what that says about me.
Lauren,
but
that's concerning.
That's hot. I think it's hot. You don't think so?
No. Lauren. Okay. Lauren.
You know what? I live to make people concerned, apparently. It's fine.
Terrifying behavior.
But it's done out of love.
But if it's anyone other than this fictional intelligence analyst,
sure.
That's like psychopathic.
Yeah, I'm talking about the book. I'm saying if I was Sophia in the book, that would be hot.
Okay.
No, it would freak me out if I really thought about it. Like, especially taking the spare key, that would be crazy. But I did think the note was cute. No?
Okay, so she leaves the note, and it's like, if you still want to see me, call this number. And I'm nearby.
Oh, see, that's cute. She's like, I'm here if you want to see me, but if you don't even have to call the number.
Right. So she's basically giving Sophia an out.
Yeah.
And Sophia calls the number, and Lexi's like lurking in the shadows. And it's like, yes, I'm here. Do you want to see me? Should I step out? And she's like, yes, I want to see you. She like steps out of the shadows to the car. And then she gets in the car and then that's it. She's like, take me home.
I know. That was
Then
such
it
a
cuts off.
that was such a cute ending.
Yeah,
Like,
and
take me home.
I'm dying to know what
I
happens
know.
next because I have to know. How do they work it out? What the heck? Like, how is it that they're just letting her come back to work and everything's just gonna be fine and it's all swept under the rug when they were gonna like take her into custody and lock her away for the rest of her life and put her away for treason, blah, 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 and now they're just gonna let her come back into work and everything's gonna be totally fine. Like, what the heck is going on?
Haley's head is exploding right now.
Yeah, seriously. And what happened with Derek and Lennon and Bink?
I know. There's going to be a lot to go over because, like, in the next book, because there's been no accountability or justice for the chemical weapons attack yet. Again, how, like you just said, how is Lexi just supposed to walk back into work with now an even bigger target on her head because she has all of this information? And with Lexi's like sense of justice, it's not like she's going to be just like, oh, I'm just going to pretend I never knew about this and just let it go. So.
And also now that she knows that Derek is part of the Halcyon Division, like they probably can team up a little bit. So I bet that now there's some, like double trouble action going on.
Or Derek's going to be transferred. Halcyon's going to split that up and transfer him. And then he's like not going to make appearance in like the second book, or at least maybe not till the end of the second book. And then maybe he'll be like a big character in the third. What if he's bad? What if Derek's actually bad and he had to keep his cover by busting her out?
But then how would he know about Halcyon?
I think he's a double agent.
Gosh, I hope not.
I know. There's got to be a double agent in there somewhere. There's got to be betrayal somewhere. What if Sophia's an agent?
But Bink debunked that.
I know, but maybe she's really good. Maybe she's like really good. And then it's going to be like a Killing Eve situation where they try and kill each other, but they love each other. And then they try and kill each other and then they have sex and they can't kill each other.
Because you can't kill each other during sex.
No, not when it's like super high. You can't. Why would you want to do that? Okay, yeah, you'll have to listen to Abby Creighton so you can hear. Maybe do the audiobook for the second book. Because I know, like, so on Kindle, you can buy the book and then you can add the audiobook for like $1.99. That's what I did. I have the book on my Kindle. I just listened to the audiobook.
Yeah.
I know you don't like them.
I just love to read.
I love to read too. Audiobooks are reading. I'm going to go with that. I've listened/read so many books this year for our podcast. Okay, so we're definitely going to cover the next book because we are dying to find out what happens. I feel like we should reach out to the author, see if she wants to like. Is she on Instagram?
I couldn't find her when I tried to tag. So it's EJ Noyes.
And you tried to tag her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To tag her. When I posted that we were going to release this episode, but I couldn't find her. But yes, we are absolutely going to read books 2 and 3 of the Halcyon series. But before we get to book number 2, we have a couple of VIP books to read. Up next, we have Craze by Margaret Vandenberg.
Yes.
Which Margaret was so kind to send us copies, and we're so excited to read. So that's our next book.
Yes.
And
Lauren will actually have to read it because it is a physical book.
Yes. And then you guys will all be really, really excited to know that one of our very favorites Jen Lyon has a new book that's coming out called The Unfinished Line, which she has sent to us, and we will be reading. So,
Yes.
get in line, start reading, everybody. Craze, and then The Unfinished Line, and then we'll get back to the Halcyon Division series. So, we're so excited.
We're very excited. I'm super excited. Yeah, Jen also said she would come back on the pod. And I
Yay.
know, I'm so excited. I can't wait to talk to her. I think this book is going to be a little bit different than the Senator's Wife trilogy, but I cannot wait because Jen's such a good author, writer, person. I'm so excited. And yeah, Craze is going to be really good. And I also think that Margaret is willing to come on the podcast and talk with us. So you guys, we have a lot of author interviews coming up. Next week, we're probably going to be covering an episode of the L Word, which, man, it's going to take us like 7 years to get through this, but we got to get going on it. But it's going to be super fun. And yeah, Haley, I think you might finally meet, what's her name on the L Word, Shane's person that I'm like, you're going to know the actor. I can't remember her name right now because it's so far out of my brain since we haven't done it in a while, but okay, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. And we will be in your ears next week.
Bye, everyone. Love you.
Bye. Love you guys.